But like you're important too, so
No, this is Stephanie and her mom. This is not about
why?
me. Because, like, it is about me. It's my channel, so it's always about me. But
Mhm.
today it's Stephanie and her mom. So, just so you know, I did a live from my car earlier today. So, people have seen me in the afternoon and now they're seeing me in the evening. They're getting a lot of Samantha in one day. I think they're
Yeah.
tired of it. But hello, everybody. It's me and Stephanie and her mom.
Hi.
Hi. And hey.
Hi. I
Hi.
know you from last time.
Yes, that's Alondra. I hope I said your
You're
name
the
right.
one that keeps on suggesting good music.
You are, and you're part of the reason why we're doing this live. So, I've been thinking about what I could do that would be something interesting or different on my channel that I haven't been doing. And I thought maybe it would be a good idea for us to do Stephanie's playlist time.
Well,
So that
I have these. This just shows I don't get sleep. I mean, I get sleep, but like my bags are so dark. Can you see that? Oh, my bag. I just have natural bags now. I don't know why. I get good sleep a lot of days, but I just have permanent bags under my eyes now.
I don't think they're not bags though. You have discoloration, but you don't have bags.
Oh.
Like when you
This
look
is
at it,
what
it's
it
not puffy. It's just dark.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, then I'm not. I don't have bags.
It's upside down natural mascara. Upside down natural mascara and eyeshadow.
Sort of look like a raccoon.
Right. It's a look. It's a look. It's a look. But no, Stephanie's playlist, because the last time we did a live together, everybody talked about, well, not the last time, because the last time we did a live together was the BTS album. But the last time we did a live together in the living room, it was to talk about music and stuff in general. And Stephanie was talking about songs that she likes, artists she listens to.
Mhm.
And people seemed really receptive to Stephanie's playlist.
Yeah.
So we're going to be here, and this is going to be about Stephanie and her mom talking about Stephanie's playlist, because I think that it's good to know, like, what are the young people listening to when they're not listening to the K-pops?
Billie Eilish.
Well,
not just.
Well,
Billie
you are
Eilish.
right now because you got the Billie Eilish CD.
Yeah.
I bought that for her when I went to Hot Topic to buy my BTS Koya pillow bear.
And you know, it's like I'm a chill fan of Billie. I'm not like a stan of Billie, because I'm not gonna say I'm like, oh my gosh, Billie's so amazing, like 90% of the girls in my school, but I understand.
Where does this vocal affectation come from? This, I'm not really a stan Billie. I
just do this.
I mean, I'm not like the kids at my school who are just like obsessed for her. Like, where does that come from? Because that's not how I talk. So where does that come from for you?
Well, we're just different, Mom. We're just different. We're just different.
I don't understand the young peoples. I don't understand the young peoples.
She has 25 years on me. So.
That's why I'm saying I don't understand the young peoples. I understand me. I don't understand the young peoples. Boo. So we're gonna start with first a group that Stephanie harasses me about all the time, and they have to be included on Stephanie's playlist, and it is Chase Atlantic.
Yes! I knew you were gonna mention Chase Atlantic. I love Chase Atlantic. If you've listened to Chase Atlantic, I don't know when they're doing their next tour. I would love to see them. I don't know if I can take my mom, because their lyrics are very druggy, very like, maybe my mom wouldn't like this, but I still like their sound, and I heard they're really nice in person, and I just really like it. And my mom's not a fan of the saxophone they use in some of their songs, but I still like it.
Okay, something that y'all might not know about me, I only like the saxophone in a jazz context. Like,
oh no, something's happening on BitLife.
priorities.
It says my cat on BitLife is running away.
Well,
I caught my cat on BitLife.
This is a mess. Anyway, I only like saxophone in a jazz context, and occasionally I like it on certain K-pop songs. Like Secret's Poison, the saxophone on that song is really good. The saxophone.
Sorry.
I'm so surprised that you remember that song.
Yeah,
Oh, the baby remembered. So like that song, and then like the saxophone on Dope. Do 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 do. I like that saxophone, but for the most part, I don't normally like saxophone outside of a jazz context. So Chase Atlantic bothers me because they're like Australian.
Yes.
They're an Australian pop band that does hip hop pop, but it's emo hip hop pop.
And it's good.
With saxophones. If that don't sound like trash, like just me describing it to you if you've never heard it, that sounds like trash.
Mom, it's good.
So, since I am not a fan of Chase Atlantic because I feel like it sounds terrible, I need you to tell the people why they should give something that sounds terrible to me a chance.
You should give it a chance because it's good, and also
because it's
just
good. Girl, that's not an explanation.
The aesthetics are amazing. Like, if you've ever watched their music videos, it's amazing. Also, I really like the instrumentals sans saxophone because I know my mom's a hater.
I'm not a hater. I just don't like them. I'm not a hater. I'm not saying you're not allowed to like him. I'm just saying I don't like him.
I just think the instrumentals are really good, and I like the main singer's voice, even though... You know what's weird? He switches his voice up in some songs. Like, sometimes he'll talk like this, and then other songs he'll be like this. It's just so weird. It could... Okay, I'm not explaining this very well.
No, you're not.
But
you're not making anybody want to listen. And it's a good thing that we're doing this here because maybe this will help you to get some feedback on how to tell a story to make people want to listen.
Sorry, but...
Okay. Let's make it simple for you. If you had to tell the people one song they should listen to from Chase Atlantic that might turn the tide for them.
Triggered.
Okay, so Stephanie's playlist, the first song on Stephanie's playlist is Triggered by Chase Atlantic. Please check it out.
Which is weird because they don't mention the word triggered in that song at all. It's just about finding out that your girlfriend's cheating on you. So you're triggered by that.
All right, so the next song on Stephanie's playlist. This actually is a band that she got into by accident. One day, Stephanie was on the phone with her dad, and her dad was asking me, what does Stephanie listen to? And I said, oh, she listens to Brockhampton. And
yes!
Oh, thank goodness she didn't clap right in my ear this time. So Stephanie's like, Brock who? She had never actually heard of them. So I'm like, Brockhampton, that's what all the kids are listening to, right?
I watched an episode of Kids React about Brockhampton, but I hadn't listened to them on my own time yet.
Hey, Anthony. So she starts listening to Brockhampton, and within a few days, she's like, I have to tell you about this group. They're so good, Mom. And I think I have a favorite, but then not always my favorite. And they've got this one guy that does this one thing, and they've got this guy that does this other thing.
Okay, one thing I will agree on is that, it's Dom. Dom is the best rapper in that group. You can fight me. Merlin Wood is the funny guy. He's like the funny guy of the group. We love him. Matt Champion's like, oh, we just have a special place for him. Same thing with Kevin Abstract. We all love Kevin Abstract because we have to. We have to love Kevin Abstract. We have to. It's a given. When you go and listen to Brockhampton, you have to love Kevin Abstract. If you don't love Kevin Abstract, what are you doing listening to Brockhampton? And then we have Joba, which, I mean, sometimes I think he's a bit cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, but we love him anyway. We love him anyway.
I feel like I am listening to myself talk about SHINee or BTS. Like, listening to you, like, break down all the reasons why you should love different members of the group. It sounds like me describing, like, and Minho's the supportive one. You know, it's so funny. It's so funny to me. Okay, so Brockhampton, if you had to give people, I'm going to give you a chance. Give them one before when the group was complete and one after the leader left. What are the 2 songs you would
After the
recommend?
leader left?
Yeah, the one guy that got accused.
Oh yeah, the scandal. Okay. I'm glad you like us. That sounded weird. Okay.
Why do you do this to me? We can never have nice things. Hey, Jason. So,
And
one before the leader left
Amir
and
Vaughn.
one before Amir left and one after Amir left. What are the Brockhampton songs you recommend for Stephanie's playlist?
For Amir, when Amir was in the thing, I would say it's a tie between Gold and Gummy.
Gold and Gummy. Gold is one song, Gummy is another.
Yeah.
Is it spelled Gummy like Gummy Bear?
Yeah, Gummy.
Okay. Now, after Amir
These
left...
are all in all caps, by the way. So.
Does it matter?
Yes. Anyway, and the one after, post Amir... Oh, God. I know this one doesn't have all 5... Well, not all 5. It's not
like
5.
You saying, oh, God. I like you saying, oh, gosh.
Oh, gosh, sorry. Well, it's not... Well, this isn't technically not with all of them in it. It's just Merlin. It's Where the Cash At.
Where the Cash At.
Yeah.
Where the, like T-H-A?
Where the, yeah.
Where the Cash At.
No, where T-H-E.
Well, that's why I'm asking. You were pronouncing it like where the Cash At.
But he says it like where the Cash
At. I'm just clarifying. Just clarifying here. Okay.
And then if it was gonna be post Amir with all the members, then it would have to be Tanya. Even though I like the live performance of Tanya better than the studio, because I don't know, I guess the live performance one of Tanya just sounded a little bit more ambient. I don't know. It sounded a little bit more sort of bordering experimental when they used Serpent with Feet and the other vocalists. And when...
Serpent with Feet.
Yeah.
They were at Coachella. That's a random piece of trivia. They were at Coachella.
And then on the studio version, they still used Serpent with Feet, but it was just Serpent with Feet.
Okay, so now let's go to another song from Stephanie's playlist. Since we're speaking about Coachella, Lizzo.
Oh, yes, I just started listening to Lizzo. She's great.
Okay, so if you were going to tell people the song that got you into wanting to listen to more of Lizzo's music, what song would that be?
Truth Hurts by
Truth
Lizzo.
Hurts. Okay, Truth Hurts by Lizzo. Why that song?
Because it's fun to listen to. Like the first verse of the song is, why men great till they gotta be great. Isn't that a great starter to a song? Like, it just puts you in a good mood, especially if you're a lady.
So you think that the thing that is
she's very empowering, and I like her self-confidence.
So would you say that Lizzo's music for you, it's more about the lyrical content than it is necessarily the quality of her voice?
She is, well, she's not the best singer, but she is a pretty good singer. And I mean, I take that into account, but I also really like I really value the meaning in her stuff.
Okay. All right, so now that we're talking about Coachella acts, one that you made me suffer listening to secondhand was Mac DeMarco. That shit was dry as hell. It was so fucking boring. But tell me why it is that Mac DeMarco is a recommendation.
His songs are just very chill, in my opinion, and I like listening. Now, I will be honest, live wasn't anything to write home about.
That man was high as a kite. He started the set with a baseball hat and a shirt on. He ended the set shirtless, no baseball cap, and looked like he was about to pass out.
His studio sounding stuff is better than the live.
What kind of music is Mac DeMarco besides trash? I'm just saying I didn't like it, but what kind of music is Mac DeMarco?
It's like indie folk, I guess, if you would kind of...
What would you say is the standout song that, like, when people hear it, they'll be like, I dig this song.
Oh, it's gotta be My Kind of Woman. I mean, that's the one everyone that's heard of
I'll say
that's
people
heard
have
of
heard
Mac
of him.
DeMarco. If you've heard of Mac DeMarco, you've probably heard My Kind of Woman.
Okay, all right. So that is the
Or
recommendation.
Chamber of Reflection.
Damn it, Tiffany! I asked for one song. Okay. Let's keep going. Always volunteering the most. Okay, so now that we've taken care of two of the people that I remember you talking about that were on Coachella that you were interested in, now let's kind of dig more in the weeds. Give people an artist that you think hasn't really gotten attention that you wish more people would talk about.
Courier Club.
How do you spell that?
COURIER Club.
Okay, so like newspaper courier.
Yeah.
Okay. What kind of music is Courier Club? Because I've never heard you talk about this before, so this is a brand new experience for me.
I feel like I have talked to you about it a little bit.
Okay, well, let me be honest with you. You talk to me a lot, but I'm not talking to you when you talk to me.
Okay.
So it's basically you talking at me. And this happens a lot when you're talking about Scum. So that's why if you were talking about them during one of your Scum rants, I have no idea what you were talking about because I just tuned that shit out. So you'll need to give me more to work with when it comes to Courier Club. What is about Courier Club that you like? What kind of music do they do? Give me interested. Give me more.
They do like rockish style.
Okay. So already I'm out.
Well, it's not like rock. It's more like indie rock.
Already I'm out. I don't like that stuff. Okay. Well, indie rock. Tell me a rock group that I might be familiar with that sounds similar to them.
I mean, if I would compare them, I guess Joan. But you don't know the
Joan
name.
who?
It's the band is just called Joan.
Okay, listen.
Or if you want that Half Alive group, a little bit.
You literally named two more people
that song. That song that you said that should be sang by Adam Levine. That song that you listened to the video.
Oh,
dancing.
I remember that briefly, but I mean, I don't know enough to know the name. It just came up on the recommends. So, okay. So, the song by Courier Club that you think could really blow up if they got more attention?
Liza.
Is that like Liza Koshy, Liza?
No, I think the song is named after the main guy's girlfriend.
I know, but is the spelling the same so people can look it up?
Koshy.
Yes,
Liza Koshy.
Yes, listen, Liza. All right, cool. So we've gone through. Boy Pablo is such a good band. I love them. Do you know Boy Pablo?
I listened to one song by Boy Pablo.
Okay.
And I thought it was pretty cool. I don't really listen to Boy Pablo or people like Clairo and things. I used to, but I stopped listening to all that sort of bedroom popish sort of stuff.
I heard a song that I would like to recommend for Stephanie's playlist. I used to really listen to a lot of rap, but I don't really listen to rap like that anymore. It's been a while. But I was watching Genius's The Cosign with Fat Joe. Fat Joe was the one. And there was, I think he is Pakistani maybe, but he's a rapper by the name of Anik Khan. And I really like his sound.
How do you spell that?
Anik, and then the last name Khan, Khan.
Oh, he looks cool.
Yeah, I really like the sound of his voice. He had a video on YouTube called Freestyle. I like the way it sounded. Play it for the people, and let's see if you agree.
What does it sound like?
I think it's called the song is called Freestyle.
Okay.
And then Anik.
Well,
Okay, well then I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know. It's the latest video by him on YouTube. I haven't really delved into his discography, but I liked the way it sounded because it was kind of like,
Oh, it's YRI.
yeah, it's the type of song that like you could hear it in the club, but it also had a story to tell.
Because I don't want this to get straight.
Oh, okay, thank you. She's protecting my channel
Oh,
from copyright
I
striking.
just turned it off.
Well, that
On
would make it.
accident.
Yeah, that would be hard. Oh, Jade, Anik Khan might be somebody that you like because he's very New York / New Jersey, and that's your thing. Like you are that person. So this might be a recommendation for you. So we've gotten into Stephanie's playlist. So now let me talk to you about, besides Anik Khan, who I added to Stephanie's playlist, I'm going to tell you about somebody that I've added to my personal K-hip hop playlist. I've added a group or boy, I don't know, solo singer maybe, by the name of Peak Boy. It's PEAKBOY, Peak Boy. I really like the sound. It is very, I don't know, I wouldn't say sleepy, but it's just like really lo-fi-ish K-hip hop, and it's right up my alley. It matches with everything I listen to when it comes to K-hip hop already. So please get into it if you would like a K-hip hop recommendation. And there is a producer by the name of Thama, THAMA. I really like Thama. He does a lot of production for a lot of really cool people. So check him out. I think that you'd like it quite a bit. Lo-fi recommendation. Do you have a lo-fi recommendation for Jason?
Okay, so this song is basically like the basic girl lo-fi song. But Her by Eerie. I like that song.
The song is named Her and the group is named Eerie?
Or is it like an artist named Eerie? Yeah.
How do you spell Eerie?
EERY.
EERY. Okay. Thanks to Crush, he recommended Lava LaRue with it, and she's so good. So is Lava LaRue the girl, or is With It the group, and then the song is Lava LaRue?
Lava LaRue is the girl.
Okay. How's it sound? This sounds very 90s hip hop. Like this sounds like very like Living Single theme song. Sounds good though. I'll have to check out the rest of her project. So, places where I find music recommendations on a regular. Podcasts are a really good way to find music recommendations. There's one K-pop podcast that I listen to that gives excellent musical recommendations, and it's the K-pop Cast. If you've never heard it, you should definitely check it out. If you are relatively new to K-pop and you're looking for somebody to kind of walk you through the history of K-pop while they're discovering it themselves, there's a podcast called Ask Me About K-pop. Somebody mentioned it in one of my live streams. I checked it out and I've listened to several episodes of their catalog. It's a really good podcast. There are times when they annoy me because they don't know things and I'm like, that's not right. That's not what you should do. But then I have to remember that they're learning about it, and we all have a learning curve we have to go through before we're really familiar with the topic. If I'm talking about non-K-pop recommendations, most of the podcasts I listen to are not music podcasts, but I listen to a podcast called The Friend Zone. And in The Friend Zone, they have a second segment in the show called Listens Lately, and they'll talk about what songs they're listening to, and a lot of it is very I wouldn't say hip hop, but definitely R&B, neo soul, that kind of lo-fi R&B sound. And they have some really good recommendations on their show for people who are looking for new music to listen to.
They probably talk a lot about maybe like her.
Well, they talk about people that are a little bit more less known than her.
Or Kiana Lede or something.
Yeah, they talk about Ari Lennox and that kind of crowd. Ari Lennox. Ari Lennox, yeah. So it's a good place to get recommendations for, and I enjoy it. I don't always look up all the people they talk about, but every once in a while a song will come on and be like, yeah, that's the song. That's the ooh, yeah. So definitely, check it out if you have an opportunity. So now we're gonna do the required K-pop talk of the chat because I'm not allowed to do a live chat without talking about K-pop things.
No.
So first bit of things that we need to talk about: Yuchin from JYJ, formerly of DBSK. Yuchin, I don't know if you remember the story about the K-pop idol who had sex with the prostitute in the bathroom. And the prostitute.
There's several of those. Sorry.
That's a shame. That's a shame that it's several. But anyway, he and a lady had sex in a bathroom, and the lady said that it was rape. He said that it was consensual. Oh. When they went to court, the prosecutor or the judge, I think it was the judge, said that it couldn't have been rape because the bathroom's too small to commit a rape in.
Make it make sense, though.
I understand. I agree. But anyway.
How is the bathroom? How much space do you need to rape somebody?
I mean, from
Did
the mouth.
You mean like at least 5 feet? Like, what do you mean?
From mouths of babes.
Not enough space to rape somebody.
So anyway, Yuchin.
I'm sorry, you need a few feet.
Yuchin was not found guilty, and actually several of the women and their companions were accused of, I guess, blackmail. And so I think a couple of them got some charges pressed against them, but one in particular did not get charges pressed against her, and she's actually gone back and is suing Yuchin in civil court for her damages. But Yuchin went to the military, and while he was in the military, he started dating a wealthy heiress by the name of Hana, I believe, or Juana, something like that. Anywhoots, they were engaged, and it was a big controversy because she was like one of these like Instagram famous type people. Like she had money, and she would be like she was a vlogger, but basically people were following her because of like her bags and her makeup and her clothes and stuff like that.
So she's basically sort of like Kylie Jenner types.
I hope that they can hear you. But they were dating for a while. He got her face tattooed on his arm, and then they broke up after being engaged for a while. Well, recently she has been accused of not only taking drugs, but also selling drugs. And she has been implicated in some of the activities with this whole Sungri burning sun stuff. Well, Yuchin came out, I want to say a week ago, and did a press conference telling everybody that there have been news reports that one of this girl's friends was the one getting her to take the drugs, and he just wanted to come ahead of time and say, it was not me. I didn't make her take these drugs. I had nothing to do with it. Leave my name out your mouth. And everybody's like, oh, well, he's coming out to say it's not him, and he's asking for the police to investigate him. He must be innocent. Well, today, the police made the statement that he was asked to come in to be investigated like he said he wanted to, and that when he came in, all of his body hair was gone. Because when you're a celebrity, you tend to dye and bleach your hair a lot. And so the hair follicle test that you'd normally take, they don't really work for your hair. But like your armpit hair, your leg hair, your pubic hair, these hairs, they don't get treated as often as your hair. So they can use that hair to do drug testing. Well, when he came in, he was sans armpit, pubic, chest, leg hair.
Some in milk and clean.
So I don't want to accuse anybody of being a drug addict, but I will say it seems to me like Yuchin is a liar. I mean, just...
Yeah, I mean, that isn't an uneducated hypothesis.
Well, the thing is that a lot of people were like, well, when his record label was asked why did he come to the police station hairless, they claim it's because he needs to be hairless to perform, which...
Who's gonna look at your armpit hair?
Who's looking at your pubic hair when you're performing? What kind of performances are you doing, Yuchin? Like, like seriously, what kind of performances are you doing? Like, take all this off. Make sure you get that nice and smooth. I know you hate talking about that with me. It's okay, baby.
It's fine.
But anyway,
I'm used to it by now.
but he gets all his hair removed. And a lot of people were saying that's really suspicious because back when he was with DBSK, they would do concert and he was known as Armpit Yunchin because he used to have really long armpit hair. So it is weird for him to shave his armpits. Also, some people were saying, well, he has to be innocent because if he was guilty, why would he ask the police to investigate him? And other people are saying that that was a tactic, and I believe this kind of, that was a tactic to try to change the narrative before the police could get to him. Like, by him looking like he's cooperating and that, you know, there's a conspiracy against him, then any findings that they have that go to the contrary of his narrative, he can say, oh, they're just trying to set me up.
Sort of like that guy from the Wells case who offered to work with the police when he was the one who orchestrated it.
Yeah. So that's a K-pop story that's going on right now. And so here's the question of the day for this that's related to this particular story. At what point are we allowed to make up our minds about a person's character before or even after they've gone to court? Now, I had made up my mind about Dumpster Juice back when the whole rape thing was going around.
Dumpster Juice!
Like, I really had. I had made up my mind then, like, he's trash. And the reason I felt like he was trash is because whether or not he raped this woman, even though I feel like he did, even though he was not found guilty of it, whether or not he raped her, the fact that in his defense, it was so misogynistic and it was so like, well, she's a sex worker and how can you rape somebody who has sex for a living and, you know, all this other stuff. But it discounted the fact that he was the type of man to go to an establishment where sex is being offered for sale. And I find it high-key insulting to want to throw a woman's profession in her face when you went to her place of business to indulge in her profession.
Yeah.
You know, how bad is a prostitute compared to a trick? I feel like they're the same level, you know, and I'm not saying prostitutes are bad, but I'm saying there's no John out there who is more valuable than the prostitute he picks up, in my personal opinion, you know. So that was a thing that I immediately made up my mind about him from there. And even though later on he was not found guilty of the charges, I kind of written him off. But is that fair? Like, taking my personal feelings aside, is it really innocent until proven guilty? Or are there times where you can say, fuck what the law said, you's guilty?
Yes.
Example.
R. Kelly.
Yeah.
I mean, well, the first time he went to court and was found innocent.
Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to put that out there because there have been times where people have really, they've had something leveled against them and it wasn't fair and people made up their mind about them and they were never able to recover. You know, a prime example of that, which you guys will never be familiar with, there was a singer named Christopher Williams and he used to date Halle Berry, the actress. I didn't feel like you'd know him. Anyway, Christopher Williams used to date the actress Halle Berry. And Halle Berry and him broke up. And later on, she said that she had an ex-boyfriend who hit her so hard, she lost the hearing in one of her ears. Or like it damaged the hearing in one of her ears. And because they had been so prominent as boyfriend and girlfriend, whereas her other partner, she ended up marrying a couple of her other partners, people assumed it was him. And so people hated him. And he came out all the time saying, it's not me, it's not me, it's not me. It's her other boyfriend, Wesley Snipes. And people were like, no, it's you. Motherfucker, you did that. We hate you.
What did Halle Berry have to say?
She never said the name. She never said the name. But then later on down the road, Wesley Snipes gets indicted for tax evasion. Several people come out and say that, he's been very aggressive and gross with porn stars.
Well,
And like a whole bunch of stuff came out. But there were people who had already made up their mind about Christopher Williams, about him being a woman beater when he wasn't.
yeah.
Or at least he's claiming he wasn't. And the other person that he is accusing of being that woman abuser turns out to be a tax evader and like a slime ball for the most part. So there's a catch-22 making up your mind about a personal figure without kind of being presented with all the evidence. But then there are times when people get away with literal murder until
Guilty
the end.
until proven innocent depends. Because if we're talking about who robbed who, innocent until proven guilty, probably. If we're talking about, a guy is found sitting in a pool of his family's blood, they think he's guilty, the court would seem to lean more of guilty until proven innocent.
Mm-hmm.
So it really depends on the context.
I guess so. So it's a discussion to have, and that's why I thought I'd have it here, because I thought Yuchen was a great example. Here's somebody who was proven innocent in a court of law, or at least was not found guilty in a court of law. But at the same time, he's now got another circumstantial incident going on. Is he guilty? Are we allowed to write him off, or do we still need to give him that same chance that we would give other people? Because we've kind of already written off Sungri, we've written off JYJ, JJY, I can't remember the abbreviations here. So I just thought I'd bring that up. Okay, now here's the hot mess of the day. I know it seemed like this Yuchen thing should be the hot mess of the day, right? Here's like the real hot mess of the day. So BTS had a press conference yesterday. I did not watch
some BTS tea.
Yeah, I didn't watch the BTS live stream because I was watching Mason's live stream. And when it comes between, BTS or my friends, I choose my friends. I'm sorry. Well, BTS had a live stream, and during the live stream, you okay?
I'm good. I just put something in my eye.
It's probably some of that onion juice. We were cutting onions to make hash brown casserole, so just putting that out there. BTS had a press conference, and apparently Jin in the group, Seokjin, he made some statements about the Hubeis that came before him, Sunbaes that came before him, and
what are those?
People who are in the industry but were his seniors or were in the industry before he was in the industry. How those people, I won't say set the path, but basically they're very influential and they helped BTS to get where they are. And there's this kind of meme going on BTS Twitter, Instagram, whatever, this BTS paved the way meme thing going on. Sunmi from Wonder Girls has been dragged into it. Several other people have been dragged into it, but Jin making these comments, there have been actual BTS fans, armies, who have written off Jin.
Why? He's showing respect. He's showing respect. What do y'all got a problem with? If someone wants to say, hey, BTS is good, but these are our inspirations, what is there to write off? What is there to write off? Make it make sense. Make it make sense. I don't see where... Are we not allowed to have role models anymore? Is that just something y'all don't like, Twitter? Is that just something where y'all like, oh, well, everything has to be original. Y'all gotta be original 24/7. I only want my original content. I only want everything to be original from the person. We can't have any inspiration because inspiration is basically copying, and that means you're inferior. What is that? People can't have a life. People can't aspire to be like somebody anymore. Okay, then. That makes perfect sense.
I will say this. My grandma always said there's nothing new under the sun. And there truly is nothing new. Because even if you take something that you've never seen before and you boil it down to its essence, something there's got to be familiar. Like if you watch a movie and you've never seen a movie like this before, you at least recognize that the people on stage are actors. You've seen an actor before. The sound you're hearing has been recorded. You've experienced recorded sound before. I mean, it's crazy to me.
This
is an illegal, I don't know what I that must have been troll. Anyway, but recording equipment you've seen before, colors. You've seen colors before.
Yeah.
If there's music, you've heard the concept of music before.
Unless they're aliens and they're just on another planet.
Yeah, like if all of a sudden we discovered like that ninth color that no one's ever experienced, but all I'm saying is like there's, in order for you to recognize what you're watching or what you're listening to or to be able to identify it, there's some basis of recognition, meaning that something came before to give you the ability to recognize, oh, this is what this is like. Or, oh, this is how I'm able to contextualize this because I've had these reference points. So it's not completely and totally unfamiliar, and I think that has to be taken into account. But it's just surprising to me how vehemently certain pockets of their fandom don't want BTS to be associated with anything that came before them or anything that comes after them, as if they evolved in a bubble and never heard anybody else's music, never saw anybody else's videos. Yeah, go get it.
Okay, I'll go get it.
Never heard anybody else's music, never saw anybody else's videos, never heard of choreography before. Like, they just were born inside of a test tube and they evolved in some magical, mystical lab, and all of a sudden they just were BTS. Fuck a family, fuck growing up in Korea. They just were, one day they were a zygote and the next day they were BTS. So I find it weird that is a narrative that's being promoted through the fandom, that they're not allowed to have any influences except for like the pre-designated influences of Epic High and Sotaji and the Boys. Like, that's weird to me. So I wanted to talk about it here because it was strange. It's strange to me.
Some of y'all Twitter army peoples is dizzy.
Yeah, well.
Some of y'all need to find a therapist. Some of y'all just need the sense knocked into you. Some
people are weird.
Need to read a book. Some of y'all need to stop listening to everything that is BTS. Sometimes y'all just need to go get a life. I think that's what some of them have the problem with, is everything they do, they eat, sleep, and breathe BTS.
Which is so weird, because BTS. If you looked at the lyrics of Pied Piper, it literally is in the lyrics like, don't make us your everything. Go out there and, be sure to do well in school and have hobbies and everything else. It's like, it's so weird.
Find your life.
So let's go back to, I saw a comment earlier. It says... So basically, ARMYs want Jin to get more lines in BTS songs, but now they want to write him off because he's showing respect. Pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And then it says, people will never be happy, to be honest. Fans will always find a way to be upset at something.
True.
It's crazy. Oh, screw those fans who want to write off Jin for what he said. This reminds me of when BTS did Blood, Sweat, Tears, and fans were saying they were the first K-pop group to ever tackle that genre.
Excuse them, what?
I'm kind of sick of this cancel culture. Yeah, when Jay Park and Eric Nam had did it months before Mason, shake my head. OMFG, are you for real? I'm dead.
Where?
Yeah, so. But yeah, it's weird to me. It is, did you turn off the timer?
I put it on for long because it didn't look ready yet.
Okay. I remember Alex got so mad he made a video about it. Did y'all see the video of NCT in New York and people kept calling them BTS and Mark kept apologizing, shake my head. That's so sad. See, this is what happens when you promote one item and then all of a sudden that's all people know, as if everything else that came before that didn't
But
exist.
then again, the people in NCT don't look like the people in BTS, so how you gonna confuse? I mean, unless they're just completely ignorant.
Listen, not to be the spicy one, but you know what they say, when they're not a part of your culture, sometimes they all look alike to certain people. I'm not saying they look alike to me.
Y'all that don't know, get your lives.
I'm just saying,
start reading a book.
Throughout my life, I've had so many people tell me about all the different black women I look like that look nothing like me.
How?
I've been told I look like Queen Latifah.
How?
Exactly.
Where's the resemblance?
Not at all. Not at all. I don't look like Queen Latifah. I've been told I look like the Pine Sol lady. I don't look like her either.
Pine Sol lady?
Yes.
I would have given him a big slap for that. But.
I mean, I've been told I look like so many people that look nothing like me. It's ridiculous.
Basically, like, hey, you're a black woman, right?
Basically,
here's
like,
this
you look
semi-popular black woman you might look like.
It is like, you look like a heavyset black woman.
Let's me find
Even
another
though
heavyset black woman.
Eyes, nose, lips, everything else, but you look like this other heavyset black woman because I am not a black person and I don't know what black people look like. Well, a lot of that happens when it comes to these Korean celebrities. You know, American media, Western media has been so lax and so negligent about showing positive images of Asian people, or even images of Asian people in general that have nothing to do with like martial arts, that when one Korean group comes over, it's like, oh, are you BTS? Because that's the only group I've heard of and you all look alike to me.
And then they're confused when everybody's like, wow, we need more of the things, more representation, like To All the Boys I've Loved Before. We need more representation like Crazy Rich Asians, things like that. Mm-hmm. They're like, well, Asian people are already in stuff. I don't get why you're like complaining.
You need representation so people don't think that every Korean idol that comes to America is
BTS.
Yeah, for real. Or that it's cool to ask every Asian group that comes over, what do you think of BTS? Like, girl, what if Beyonce went to every country in the world and everywhere she went, people like, so tell me what you think of this Ariana Grande girl. I mean, eventually, I would be surprised if she doesn't just snap. Like, because we're both pop stars, you think I know everything about this other pop star because we're in the same genre? No, we're like different people. We're different people. So, I mean, that's the reason why it's books. That's why it's frustrating to me. It's frustrating to me. But, you know, I just wanted to say, like, I did a talk about BTS earlier today on a live stream, and for this to come up after that talk, I'm like, I'm so done. I'm so done with that. Like, I'm never going to diss armies because armies are too many different kinds of people, and there's so many beautiful, brilliant, smart, wonderful armies, but there are some other people out here that literally can go jump off of a bridge.
People.
Wow.
Y'all never read no more. I think that's the main problem. People want to be like, well, I listen to crazy. Read.
First of all,
Open the legal.
I just want to say, like, what in the hell? What in the hell? Like, first of all, I don't ever go up to two people sitting next to each other and be like, are y'all related? That's just so fucking random to do.
We barely even talk to strangers unless we need help.
Right. I barely even talk to strangers unless I need like directions or, you know, I'm lost. Like, other than that, I very rarely talk to strangers at all. I'm actually annoyed when I walk into a store and somebody's like, how can I help you? And I'm like, I'm just looking. Okay, well, if you need anything, let me know so I can help you. I'm like, could you please stop? Like, can you stay over there while I go do my thing over here? I'll call you if I need you, girl.
Abby, just stay by the cash register. We don't need anything.
Yeah, so like, I can't imagine seeing two people sitting on a park bench having a conversation and then going over there minding not my own business and being like, so are you two related? You look like brother and sister. The
First
fuck?
of all, I don't care who you're related to.
Get away from me with
I'm never
that.
going to meet you again in the rest of my life, probably.
Yeah.
So why would I ask you?
Y'all, people think I look like Rico Rodriguez from Modern Family. No, you don't. I'm not him, but sure I'll take a picture with you. That's crazy. I don't even look alike. Like, your facial features are different. That's so... I'm telling you, man, this is the reason why people need to get out of the house. People need to travel. They need to get exposed to some stuff because it is so insulting to not have discernment. You know, I'll be honest with you. I do have a level of lack of discernment in my own life. Like, personally, people from different regions of Africa, I can't tell them apart. Like, I can't say someone looks Cameroonian as opposed to Nigerian or as opposed to South African.
If no one's French or Italian.
Exactly. Like, I can't tell if you're French versus Spanish versus Swedish if you don't open your mouth or you're not wearing a beret. Like, I'm not gonna know the difference. And you know, as terrible as this sounds, I can't always tell the difference between a Chinese person and a Japanese person and a Korean person. There are certain features where I'm very much like, okay, I know where you're from. Like, people who happen to be like Southeast Asian as opposed to Southwest Asian, I can tell a lot of difference there. Like, people from Thailand and Vietnam don't look like people from Korea and Japan. Yeah. But some of the people from Korea, Japan, China look very similar to me. And I'm oftentimes surprised when I'm looking at like countries that different idols come from. I'm like, oh, I didn't know they came from there. But yeah, like, seriously, to even ask the question, like, mind your business.
If you're not sure about something, don't open your mouth.
Yeah, you know, mind your business, kick rocks. So, ugh.
Oh, remember that one time where we went to that, no, it was an Ethiopian restaurant. And we heard some girls over there, and Grandma was yelling at them because they're talking about, yeah, I went to an Ethiopian. Oh my god! I'm at this Ethiopian restaurant. I was thinking of adopting an Ethiopian kid, one of you guys' people, and Grandma had to go over there and like, I would like it if you would please.
So you're remembering it a little bit different than I remember it.
Or whatever they say.
Okay, so we were in a Ethiopian/Somali restaurant. Yeah. And there were two white women, maybe three, sitting at the table next to us. There were only 2 tables occupied in this entire restaurant. So it's very easy to hear their conversation because there's literally no one else in this restaurant besides us and the wait/kitchen staff. And these white women are like, oh, we've been to Somalia and your people are doing really well and we really love this food and you should expand your market. And the one lady says, yeah, I've thought about adopting an Ethiopian child, you know, because I've seen on TV how things are over there and I just really thought I could help out. And like, the way she was saying it was like, you are a charity case, your people are charity cases, and I want to help out of the graciousness of my beautiful white heart. And my mom, if you think that I got a mouth on me, you don't know my mom.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Stephanie's got on shorts. She didn't want y'all to see. But if you think I got a mouth on me, my mom has got a mouth on her. And my mom didn't say anything to these people while they were continuously like downgrading the Ethiopian/Somali culture. But again, there were only 2 tables occupied in this restaurant. And at one point, things got really quiet when the wait staff went behind the counter. And my mom had been staring at them because when my mom's upset, she becomes extremely confrontational. So she's just staring at them. And the lady's like, is there something I can help you with? And my mom's like, no. Is there something I can help you with? That's extremely rude what you were saying to them. Like, my mom... Don't give her the invitation because she will walk through that door. But she was just kind of like, you know, can I help you with something? And it shut them up. They didn't have anything else to say. When the waitress came back out, they paid their check and they left. But it was one of those things where it's like, here you are, you're going to a business for an Ethiopian/Somali person. I guess Eritrean is the cultural, the best word, Eritrean. You're in their establishment. Obviously, these people are doing well enough to own their own restaurant and to feed you. So why do you have to talk about or emphasize the fact that their country, being in Africa, must be poor and that their children must need rescue? Like, are you dizzy? What's wrong with you? But that happens all the time. All the time. And it's just one of those things where it's like, can you get any more simple minded? Can you get any more patronizing? Can you get any more biased? But yeah, I don't like that shit. That shit makes me mad. It really does. So let's see here. Yeah, it was definitely some white savior complex. But Mason says, this reminds me of a close friend of mine. She's Korean, but she says she had traditional Japanese features. So when she goes back to Korea, store workers always try to speak to her in Japanese. I could see that. And that's the reason why, like, I feel bad because I oftentimes can't tell features apart from those kinds of things. Like teeth and nose and cheekbone, like those kind of things, sometimes I'm not able to discern everything. But for the most part, I try to do what I can. But definitely, I don't think that all Korean people look alike, or all Japanese people look alike, or all Chinese people look alike. I kid you not. I was in a board meeting this week, and because this is my job, I have to do what I have to do. There was an older gentleman in this meeting. When I say older, I mean like almost 80, about to be 80 years old. And he was talking about the different workers who had come on the property to do repairs. And he's like, the roofing guys are all Mexican, the painters are all white people, and the gutter guys are all Orientals.
Hmm?
Orientals.
Wait, I forgot what we were talking about.
He was saying that the guys that were working on the roof were all Mexicans. Mm-hmm. The guys painting the stucco were all white. And the guys working on the gutters were all Orientals. Y'all, Oriental is not a person. Oriental is a rug. Just, FYI, in case it ever comes across your mind to say it. Oriental is not a person. Oriental is a rug. You don't call people Orientals. You're supposed to say Asian. But this is an 80-year-old man, and I'm at my job, so I couldn't correct him the way I wanted to. But then he proceeds to say, those Orientals are so polite. But they're known for being very polite.
I guess it's because I have less manners than you. But I would have slapped that old man. I don't care if he's 80 or not.
I got to pay rent around this bitch. I'm not trying to lose my job behind some of this stuff. But yeah, I was just like, I haven't heard nobody say Oriental in forever, and I definitely haven't heard them say it in regards to people in forever. Like, that's some stuff that you would see when you watch like these 1950s black and white MGM studio Hollywood movies. That's not something that you expect people to say in the here and now. Like, I've had to train myself to quit saying Hispanic. You're not, from what I understand, you're not supposed to say Hispanic anymore. You're supposed to say Latinx. And I still am working on it all the time. But it is very hard because you get so used to doing something. But at the end of the day, I'm more likely to say Hispanic than just to automatically default to Mexican as being the categorization for anybody who speaks Spanish and has not extremely pale skin tone. Because, there's first of all, you're not supposed to use Hispanic because Hispanic, I guess, alludes to colonizers. So that's why you're not supposed to use that anymore. You use Latinx. But also, again, you can't assume where anybody comes from. Somebody couldn't be Latinx because maybe they come from Spain, not necessarily the Caribbean or Southern North America or South America. And so, it's a learning process all the time. But Oriental, man, I haven't heard that in forever. But yeah, it's tricky out here in these streets. The things that you'll come across it's tough stuff. Latinx is still a relatively new term for me to use when conversing in general. Yeah, it is a lot. Latinx is hard. We are both from the South. She was born in the South. I was born in the South.
Texas.
And one thing that I've had to grapple with living in Colorado is my use of the Southern terms ma'am and sir.
What's wrong with using ma'am and sir?
Right? It is a problem because we're in a time and place where people are now using terms like gender fluid or genderless, and ma'am and sir are very gender defining terms. Like someone who's female presenting, you use a ma'am. Someone who's male presenting, you use a sir. But in Colorado, more than in Texas, where we're from, those distinctions are not as obvious. And sometimes I find myself, without really thinking well, assuming someone's gender and then giving them their ma'am or sir identification when I'm referencing them.
Don't you just say excuse me, but I don't feel like ma'am and sir would be that offensive.
Well, okay, for instance, I was at a coffee shop and there was I'm going to say a young woman, and I'm saying that, and I'm going to break down why I say young woman. It was a person with really short hair wearing a button-up top. It looked like they had breast mounds, but they were a slimmer person, and the breast mounds were not very pronounced. They didn't have any makeup on, but they had very soft, kind of adolescent features, and their voice was a higher pitched voice. But they had what you would consider maybe a men's haircut. It was a very short, neat, almost military style haircut. And when I spoke to them, because in my mind, I assumed this person was a female, even though they had these kind of ambiguous features, chest mound, short hair, button-up shirt, which could be either male or female. I said, when they asked me, is there anything else I can help you with? I said, no, ma'am. And as soon as I said it, like I said, I wasn't even thinking. As soon as I said it, I felt terrible because I'm like, because I don't know if this is a man.
Did they correct you?
They didn't, because they had manners. They didn't because they were polite and they were at their job, and that's why they didn't correct me. Just like I didn't correct the older man.
But did they seem disappointed with what you said?
They didn't seem disappointed. They just kind of seemed like blank. Kind of like, okay. And then they went on about their business. But I thought about that all day after I did that, because I'm like, where I'm from, where we're from, yes, ma'am, and yes, sir is a term for respect. You say yes, ma'am, and yes, sir the same way you would say Mr. or Mrs., whatever your last name is, as a way of showing respect for this person. Because in the South, it's considered disrespectful to use somebody's first name who is not younger than you or close to you.
Yeah.
So that's where yes, ma'am, and yes, sir come in. If you don't know their name, then you use yes, ma'am, or yes, sir as a salutatory address. But we're now in a time and age where that doesn't work because of all the different gender identification roles. And so now I have to address you by your gender on invitation.
I just feel like if you're not sure, just say, excuse me, can I, instead of, because I don't feel like we have to be specific about it if it's that difficult.
Well, like I said, it's not necessarily that I have to say yes, ma'am, and yes, sir. But I've gotten old, and I've gotten to the point in my life where I'm so used to saying it that I have to stop myself from saying it. Now I have to just say yes. If someone says, do you want sugar with that? Yes. And so it is very, very difficult.
Yes, please, or yes, thank you.
Yeah, you can't say yes, ma'am, yes, sir. And that's just really, really tough at this point.
Well, I feel like if it's obvious this person is the gender they are presenting as, then... But if you're not sure, then just don't mention it at all. But I don't feel like we should have to delete ma'am and sir altogether, because those for me are very respectful terms. Like if I'm going to address my dad, I would say yes, sir. But I don't feel like if you're not sure of someone or maybe you feel uncomfortable using it in that setting, you should say excuse me just as a neutral term. But I
But
feel like
then-
in general, ma'am
But then
and
this
sir is
old
not-
man thought that saying Oriental was being respectful rather than saying, the ethnic slurs for Asian people. And so that's why I say what seems respectful from 10 years, 15 years ago, that changes. And what seems respectful today for you guys as young people in another 10, 15, 20 years may not seem that way. And so that's the reason why I just was like, I thought I'd bring that up because I don't know if you guys have ever had that experience or if you deal with that experience. Just like we're learning, to use Latinx instead of Hispanic, learning to not use ma'am and sir has been a difficult learning curve for me as well. Stephanie's cooking. At work, people say yes, ma'am to me when I'm clearly younger than them. It doesn't bother me, honestly. I just think it's how they were raised, I guess. And I think that's great. But you're also, from what I understand from knowing you, Jade, you're not a person who has a gender that is not the gender you were born with. Like, you weren't born female and now you're identifying as male, and so by somebody calling you ma'am, they're misgendering you. So that's what's going on. Kind of off topic, have you heard the very recent news about Britney Spears? When you say very recent, how recent do you mean? Give me a little bit more context here. Because I remember hearing about Britney checking into the mental health care facility not that long ago. So has something new happened? I'm just waiting to see if the comments update. No, Shen, are you gonna update that? Okay. In the last few days, a paralegal who worked with her conservatorship anonymously came out and said that Britney is most likely being held in the mental facility against her will. No, I had not heard that at all. Had not heard that at all. I mean, I hope that she's not being held against her will. It'd be weird for that to start right now. But, again, you never know. You never know. So that's why I really can't say anything about that. But I have not heard that story at all. The last story I heard is that, her dad was sick and she decided to go to seek help trying to deal with everything. I mean, I really hope she's not being held against her will. But, I mean, my mom is a nurse. I think I've told you guys that before. Maybe not. Maybe not. The conservatorship she is under is already weird, but apparently she has not been taking her meds she has to take, and also she isn't allowed to drive, but she did in the last few months. Well, if Britney is off her meds, that's a problem. Because I personally believe, and this is just me, I do personally believe that Britney Spears has significant mental health issues. When she shaved her head and was beating the car with the umbrella, and just her whole relationship with Kevin Federline, I feel like most of that was during a manic episode in her life. And the conservatorship that Britney went under, most of us know that the reason why she went under conservatorship is because of her business relationship with Sam Lutfi. I think that's his name. So Britney Spears, when she did the Blackout album, she was signed. She wasn't signed. I guess she had a management agreement, some weird situation with this guy named Sam Lutfi. I think that's his name. And he became her new manager. And he had her out here in these streets looking wild. And so at the time, her family kind of was trying to step in and negate the management contract that she had with the Sam Lutfi character. And when they were trying to negate that, they were trying to say that her mental state precluded her from being able to have a legitimate management contract with him. And so they were going to take her under conservatorship in order to be able to take care of her and keep her from getting involved in these types of agreements because she's not competent to do that. And so it was a legal tactic, I guess, to get her out from under Sam's control. But in recent years, it seems that she has been trying to kind of get out from underneath this conservatorship. She's saying she's doing better, and that is why she should be allowed to be free from the conservatorship. But my mom, like I said, is a nurse, and my mom used to work at a psych hospital. And one of the things that's
I would not wear an unused plastic garbage bag.
I don't even know why you addressed that. I wouldn't have addressed it.
Okay.
Like I'm gonna let you have your time. But one of the things that is the reason why people find themselves in and out of mental health facilities is because once you've been diagnosed with something like schizophrenia, bipolar, depression, any number of mental health maladies, they are ongoing. And even though you have ebbs and flows, just like you would if you had diabetes or if you had, lupus or anything else, it never goes away. It's there. It just sometimes you're dealing with it really well and sometimes you're not. And the reason why you have to stay on your medication for years at a time and not come off it is because you get to feeling somewhat normal sometimes. And when your medication is right, it makes you feel normal. And you get to feeling so normal and so good that you feel like I've cured it. I don't need it anymore. So you go off the medicine, and then all of a sudden the symptoms start coming back. The things that drove you out of control start reemerging as the chemicals from the psychotropic drugs leave your system as your cells repopulate and everything replenishes. So if Britney Spears is acting out because she's quit taking her meds, then she could be in a mental health facility in order to get her back right. And sometimes it takes being committed in order to get back right because you don't see that you've entered a manic episode until you're fully in it. And so that could be what's going on with Britney. I hate to hazard an assumption about that, but I say that because, again, like I said, my mom was a psych nurse for many, many years, and we had a lot of discussions about it. And my uncle had mental health issues of his own with his dealing with schizophrenia. So we had a lot of familial experience with his highs and lows and how he would be when he would get off his medicine and then he would start having his really dark thoughts and then he'd get back on his medicine and he'd be doing better. And when he committed suicide last year, it was after a period of being off of his medication for quite a while. So I can see where if she did not volunteer to go into this facility, it could be that she was pressured to go there because she found herself again in the midst of another manic episode. Okay, so let me read what it says. The two people in charge of her conservatorship are her dad and also a lawyer. The lawyer recently resigned from being a part of the conservatorship and said he did so because there was plans set. Okay, so oh man, I can't even imagine what the changes are in Hebrew. I can't even imagine what it's like in other languages. But yeah, I mean, if Britney is struggling right now, all I pray is that she finds relief. That, if she's stressed out, that she can find somebody that can help her de-stress. But she's got a lifelong battle. And I think that's something that people don't really know about mental health issues like schizophrenia and stuff like that. It's not one of those things. There is a such thing as situational depression. There is a such thing. But a lot of depression is something that you have all your life. And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, but it's something you're constantly having to deal with. It's a maintenance issue. Just like taking care of your home, it's a maintenance issue. And I really think that Britney Spears she's dealing with something that requires constant maintenance. And so sometimes it's going to be rough, sometimes it's going to be ugly, but at the end of the day, she needs the help. and she needs people who are willing to get her that help, because otherwise we might not have Brittany for very long if she doesn't get this help. So it's really important to understand. It's really important to understand. Okay, so Cutie Cat says, I stay away from people or social media a lot now is because I can't take meds for my depression, anxiety, and bipolar disorder. They make me worse. It's sad because I usually can control. It's been years since I had this relapse, and it all happened due to a best friend I thought understood me. You know, everybody's different. Some people the meds work, some people the meds don't. And sometimes it's a different set of meds, different combinations, and you have to find what works for you. And with some people, there's nothing that's ever going to work for them, and they have to find ways to live with the fact that nothing's ever going to work for them. So they find what their triggers are and they stay away from those triggers. But I think even more important than that, one thing I get from what you're saying is that I think we invest a lot in the people around us. I think we invest a lot in believing that the people around us can relieve some of our burden. And yes, family and friends and lovers and the like, they can make you feel good. Like interacting with them can bring you happiness and bring you joy. But ultimately, there's no one who's responsible for your happiness or your well being other than yourself. When you're a child, your parents are responsible, but once you've crossed a certain threshold in life, you ultimately are responsible for taking care of yourself and ensuring your happiness. And I think the more you remind yourself of that, the better you'll be in this lifetime. The more you won't let people treat you shitty because you know that you're in charge of taking care of you. So if somebody's treating you bad, you have to speak up for yourself. The more you won't be as invested in toxic relationships because you won't tell yourself that without that person you can't do well. It's important that you understand that you're ultimately responsible for your happiness so that you have the wherewithal to seek better for yourself. If you don't believe that you can control your happiness, you're going to constantly be waiting for somebody to rescue you. And honestly, nobody can rescue you. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. So let's see here. The meds don't work for me, but I found happiness in other things that brought me comfort. I still have bad panic attacks, but I can't find ways to diffuse. I can't find ways to diffuse them in a way. I can find ways. Okay, you can find ways to diffuse them. Okay, good. I'm glad you found a method. All meds make me suicidal more, and that's me. Music is my soul. Lately, with everything that has been happening, it's been really hard since it helps me. So I feel like I've been losing everything. But thank you. I haven't talked to them for months. It's important. Like I said, it's just important to identify, what ultimately you can do to be in charge of your own mental health, because don't think that we don't all struggle. Like, I'll be honest with you, I don't consider myself to be a person that suffers from depression or suffers from obsessive compulsive disorder or ADHD or bipolar or schizophrenia. I don't feel like I have any of those maladies. However, I do have my good days and I do have my bad days. And depending on what my day is like, I can feel really low or I can feel really happy. And during the times when I feel really low, I have to remind myself that I'm in charge of my happiness. And that's when I have to actively look for ways to bring my mood up, whether that means getting on camera and cussing people out, or if it means, getting home and venting to my daughter, or it means listening to music, or whatever else it is I need to do. I do those things because ultimately I am in charge of my happiness. And I do the things that are self-help and wellness centers for me so that I can do what I need to do to take care of everything else in my life.
Happiness, la 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 la.
That's not what I call that song, but it's cute. There's a song. Have you ever had a theme song? Have you ever heard of having a personal theme song? Okay, I'm really going to show my age here, even though I've already talked about my age several times. There used to be a television show on Fox called Ally McBeal. Mm-hmm. And the lead character in Ally McBeal used to see a therapist. And her therapist asked her to identify a theme song, a song that she could listen to that she felt defined who she was as a person. And whenever she would listen to that song, it would remind her of who she is as a person whenever she felt lost.
I don't have one of those.
Well, you're just not hearing the term, so that's probably the reason why you don't have one. So be thinking about what your theme song is. And your theme song can change, just like seasons of a television show can change. Your theme song can change. But for the last few years, my theme song has been a song by Sam Sparrow called Happiness. You've heard that song before.
What does it sound like?
Happiness, you belong to me. Happiness, you're mine. Oh, happiness, you belong to me. Happiness, you're mine. I've played that song for you before.
Maybe.
The very first thing I could see the sun coming up and I need it. Oh yeah, I feel like I've been down here for a while. They say the grass was always greener, but you know I haven't seen her. Feel like I've been dying for a smile. No? Oh, I feel terrible because nobody knows this song. I'm the only one. I'm the only one who knows this song. But anyway, whenever I'm feeling really, really down, I can listen to Happiness and it brings me right back to 100. Like, it doesn't make me like jump for joy, but it makes me think of, okay, you can do this. You're going to make it. Don't let this drown you. So Mason says, I want my theme song to be Hot Pink or 21's Crush, but I know it's not either, LOL. Jason says, I think that I'll think of what my theme song is. Think about it. It's a really nice trick to have in your back pocket. Oh, that's really awesome. I don't depend on others or like normally talk to others about my issues. I just think it's because I'm officially 2 years of finally walking again with my metal left foot leg. Oh, wow. Congratulations on being able to walk again. That's a big feat. You should be very proud of yourself for being able to get back to mobility. A lot of people can't do it. And, you know, it doesn't make you any less of a person that you don't have something that maybe you were born with. It makes you more of a survivor. You have more of what the ancestors gave you by being able to take something that seems like a loss and turn it into something you're able to live with and maintain. So, you know, keep that in mind. But yeah, just try to think about like all of the music that you've listened to. I still can't work, so it's been hard, and I've been in these walls, so I feel useless to my family. I understand you feel useless to your family right now, but you don't have to feel useless. You still have value. Your family would be lost without you if they had to lose you as opposed to having you not work. I think they'd much rather have you not work than have you not here. So, you know, don't take yourself as being a drain on them. Think more about, you know, ways that you can improve yourself and get to a place where you can be happy so that they can see you happy. Because if they can see you happy, it's going to make them feel better. I promise.
Police are investigating after a transgender woman in Texas was brutally beaten in full daylight.
People are trash. People are so trash. That's another reason why you can't expect other people to help you with happiness, because you read stories about people being trash all the time, and it's just like, okay, I know, what an ass, what an ass, what an absolute donkey. People are such garbage. Not you guys, obviously. I'm talking about the people in this video. It's garbage. But yeah, theme songs. In the comment section down below, if you actually end up watching this live later on, please leave me what your theme song is. I'd love to hear what your theme song is because I want to hear your theme song. So again, my theme song is Happiness by Sam Sparrow, Sparro. Oh, Stephanie's looking at something on Twitter with this man beating this other person, because I'm not sure what they're identifying as. It just says transgender. So I guess this person is
transgender woman.
Okay, so this man is beating this woman, but this woman, I guess, was not a cisgendered woman. And so this man is in the street, people filming as he's punching and kicking this woman while she's on the ground in the defensive position. And it is just, first of all, whoever's filming this is like literally walking around them as close as I am to this camera to catch the action. it's multiple men kicking and stomping this person, and then people standing around not trying to intervene, but just trying to catch it on their cell phone camera. Stuff like this is the reason why I say people are trash. Don't let people influence you. Why did no one call the police? Because they felt like this transgendered woman was less than human, less human than they are.
Oh, they're beating her bad.
I don't know how you can continue to watch that. I won't. I'm not gonna.
It's like things like, you know how it's
I don't know.
devastating, but you can't look away.
No, I can look away from stuff like that. That I can absolutely look away from. That and like animal torture, those are things I don't have to look at more than a few seconds of. People are such trash. Did you hear of the man who threw the little boy from the third floor at the... Yes, I heard about that at the Mall of America. Apparently, there was a man who went to the Mall of America because he was pissed off and he wanted to hurt somebody. Like, flat out, that was his motivation. So he went to the Mall of America and was going to push an adult over the edge of one of the banisters on the third floor. But instead, he ended up picking up a child, I guess, and throwing the child over.
Why did he kill him?
Because he was mad at the world. Mad at the world and
but that
couldn't think of anything better to do.
To kill a little boy.
I'm not saying it's an excuse. You just asked why. I'm giving you the why. The why doesn't always make sense. The quicker you can understand that in life, the better you'll be. The why does not always make sense. I went to the weekend after that happened and people were taking selfies at the spot where the boy landed. Wow. What is wrong with people? That's not a tourist attraction. That's like a real... I would understand if people were going there to leave flowers. Like that I could get. Like people leaving flowers and teddy bears and stuff like that. Going there to take selfies? You sick fuck. You sick fuck. He should have tossed you over the side. I feel very welcomed here and thank you very much. It truly means a lot. I will be strong. My theme song is from a metal band called In This Moment. The song is called Fighter. Its lyrics are powerful. Yeah, I'll have to check that out then. I'm not a big metal person, but you know, I used to have my times. I used to really like Metallica during the Black Album era. I'm aggravated with people too. I can't believe that people think that that's cool. It's like this story recently. Okay, we live in Colorado, so I don't know if this made the national news or not. I'm assuming it did, though. There was a lady from Florida who is obsessed with the Columbine shooting from 1999.
Oh, I heard about
and she came to Colorado because she's obsessed with the Columbine shooting and came armed with a weapon. So they had to shut down the schools in Denver because they didn't know if this woman was going to try to go to a school and reenact it. And so she ended up taking an Uber to like the base of the mountain and killing herself, which all things considered is probably one of the better outcomes for all of this. But the idea that something that was an absolute tragedy, something that like really tore communities apart, would be your inspiration to travel across the country to do something terrible, get the whole fuck out of here. Like seriously, get the whole fuck out of here. And you know, I think we're at the 20th anniversary of the Columbine shooting, actually, which is part of the reason why they were concerned about this. And so many people have shot up schools since Columbine, claiming that they were inspired by Columbine. And I always have to wonder, what is it about that is an inspiration to you? What is it about that motivates you and makes you want to do the same thing? Because when I think of those tragedies, I don't ever think about the shooters. I think about the families in the parking lot crying because their kids are gone. Like that's what I think about. I don't think about the names of the shooters or what their faces look like or anything like that. I only think of these parents crying for help, that this should never happen to any other parent. That's what I think about. I remember when Columbine happened, looking at television and seeing parents, in the parking lot holding each other, collapsing because nothing like that had happened. And that to me is what I associate with these kinds of things. Not, I'm going to go down in history and people are going to remember my name. Also, because, like, at this point in time, outside of the Columbine shooter and maybe this latest Parkland shooter, how many of these shooters' names do we really remember? Like, seriously.
0.
So, whatever infamy you thought you were going to have is short lived. Nobody cares about you now. Let's see here. I remember when Sandy Hook happened as well. My school practiced lockdown drills for weeks after. When Sandy Hook happened, that was. Has it been 10 years since Sandy Hook happened? It's been a while. Mm-hmm. Stephanie was little at the time. And I remember the day that it happened thinking, this is the day that America changes. Like, this is the day that we're going to outlaw guns, because anybody who run up in a school and shoot kindergartners because they got a gun, this is it. It's over. It's done with. This is never going to happen again. And to be sitting here all these years later and to have it be that not only did it not be that they outlawed guns, but they later on tried to flip the narrative and say that these children never existed and that all of their parents are crisis actors.
Boo!
Like, you couldn't have told me the day that Sandy Hook happened that this would ever be the reality we're in now. But to know that Alex Jones built an entire career saying that that was made up, like, what? That is so freaking strange. Yes, Ally McBeal did dance with the CGI baby. So let me go back. I missed something. Did you hear they are trying to take the death penalty off for murderers, killers? There's a lot of states in the United States that do not have the death penalty because of times when people who were innocent were sent to death. So that's not surprising to me at all. It's kind of like the women who support and had crushes. I forget his name. He was a serial killer who killed him. Oh, yeah. Zac Efron played him in the movie.
Ted Bundy?
Yes, Ted Bundy. I don't get those prison wives. Was it Jack the Ripper? No, Charles Manson. Some old cult leader, I think. It was Charles Manson. Oh, yeah, Jack the Ripper also murdered more women as well. There was a lot of men who murdered women, especially any other terroristic threats like bombing incidents, etc. There's also people that believe the Holocaust is fake and made up by the Jews. Why do people do this? I always hear stuff like this from America, and I really don't get it. It's not just from America, Bara. It is a lot of people in a lot of countries that have been saying this. I've heard that it's being said in Germany even, and quiet as it's kept. I think I've talked about this on a live stream before, but like Japan has, I know I've talked about this on live stream before. Japan has repeatedly denied that there were comfort women, have repeatedly denied their war crimes during World War II. There's this one picture that's on the internet, and I've only ever seen it with the blurred part of it, but there's a picture of a Japanese soldier with a gun in his hand, like a rifle, and at the end of the rifle there's a bayonet, and at the end of the bayonet there is a baby speared onto the end of this rifle. And it's from the raping of Nanking, which is in China. When the Japanese invaded China during World War II, like, they killed hundreds of thousands of people in like the worst ways. And there's like videos on YouTube about those war crimes. But in the Japan of today, here and now, the methodology that was employed by the government to rehab their image was to make them seem non-offensive, make them seem like they were a hapless co-conspirator from World War II and they really didn't know what they were doing, and to promote the honor system in Japan over the dishonorable acts that they had during World War II. And so slowly but surely they're trying to erase their part in history. And the reason why they continue to deny the comfort women is because they're waiting for the comfort women to all die. That way they can say, well, there's no one here to prove that it actually happened. So no, I'm not surprised that somebody from another country would be promoting that the Holocaust didn't happen, because it's a way to try to lessen and absolve their own complicity in such a horrific act. Yeah, I don't know what the name would be in Hebrew, but I mean, even like Candace Owen, who I can't believe I'm saying her name on my channel because that's just so weird, but she had some talk about how like what Hitler was doing was not all the way wrong. It was like, he believed in purity rather than supremacy, and if he had just tweaked some things, it would have been better. And it was like, girl, how can you even entertain this? Like, how is this even a part of a debate? How is this even part of a discussion? Like, there's no positive discussion you could be having where the word Hitler is involved. Like, that's beyond the realm of reality. So I mean, people are wild nowadays.
My history teacher in 6th grade said that he was at least a good speech person.
Again, how is his name? This is the reason why you had to get the hell out of Texas, because people are wilding. They're trying to make supremacy natural in schools. Sky Sapphire says, I swear my faith in humanity keeps getting lower and lower the more I hear about shit like this. Cutie Cat says, Asian wars were horrible or things they have done. I think they try to do what Germany did with with Hitler, but it failed miserably. The thing is, the reason why Germany hasn't been able to completely erase the legacy of Hitler is because, and I hate to say this, it has to do with white people. And I don't mean it like because white people are bad or whatever. What I mean is, Hitler killed a lot of white people, because he didn't just kill Jewish people, he also killed Polish people and French people, and he bombed London. And so there's a lot of countries with majority white populations, and they're not ever going to let him forget, or let history forget, who Hitler was. But when it comes to countries with brown people, things like the Rwandan massacres and things like the rape at Nanking, they don't get talked about as much, and it's easier for Western countries to forget about those atrocities because they didn't happen to white faces, they happen to brown faces. And so it's not as
important.
It's not as memorable, and it's easier to rewrite that history. So, not nice.
Not at all.
But yeah, it's sad, but it's just the truth. Like, when people think Japan now, they don't think about the guy with the baby at the end of his bayonet. They think Hello Kitty and anime and kawaii and Harajuku and all of that stuff. And that's what Japan wants from you. They don't want you to remember their war crimes. And on the one hand, I get it, because the people my age and younger in Japan had nothing to do with World War II. So why would they want to have themselves or their culture associated with that? But on the other hand, it is the old guard in Japan who is adamant about not acknowledging these things, and they won't even teach it in their schools. And
wow.
Even recently, they have had a number of North Korean schools be opened in Japan, talking about like the positive sides of communism and stuff. And it's just, like I said, it's reinventing history when you don't want to acknowledge the bad things you've done. But we have to acknowledge the bad things we do to each other, because how are we ever going to do any better? How are you going to prevent the next Hitler or Mussolini or whoever to come about if we don't talk about how they got there and ways to prevent that from happening again? If we continue to try to rewrite history, like the old adage goes, those who forget history are doomed to repeat it. So yeah, it sucks that these things happened, but we can't ignore them or sugarcoat them, because they'll happen again. I'm just waiting to see how it happens, honestly. Where's the next place that happened? Where's that going to be? We've gotten dark today. And this live is called Stephanie and her mom. Why is it all about Stephanie's mom? It's been more about me. It started out with Stephanie's playlist. Now it's basically me. So I'm gonna get off here, you guys, because this has definitely devolved into a place I didn't expect it to go.
No, wait, why?
Because like you're not even contributing. You've eaten a whole meal while I've been on here. Like
I want to be on here more.
no, you don't. You literally got up, fixed a bowl, ate for a second of it. You were like going through your phone the whole time and looking away from
Well,
the
I'm
camera.
back now.
No, you're not back now. You're going to bed now. In fact, I'm sure it is your bedtime already.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're gonna go. But thank you guys for being here. I'm gonna leave this live up. If you want to go back to the top of the live and listen to Stephanie's playlist, that's great. I expect several downvotes for this live because I said some pretty spicy things, and I think there's some people who are gonna watch this live and be like, Samantha is totally racist and she doesn't like white people and this, that, and the other. You can believe what you want. At the end of the day, I like humanity. I don't like all the things that humanity does, but I like humanity, and I just wish there was more actual humanity in humanity than what we've seen displayed in recent years. I wish there was more remembering that we all come from mothers and that we all start out as innocent children and we deserve a chance instead of constantly segregating and being biased against people for the things that they don't have any control over, or dividing people because it makes you feel a sense of superiority. So that's what I wish more than anything else. But thank you for watching, and work on your themes